Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 155 of Kouryer podcast. Our today's guest is Miss Emilie Rinna. She's a concept artist and concept designer from Toulouse, France. And of course, before we get into the podcast and with the questions and the conversation, I just need to mention something quickly in the beginning of the episode. In the contact section in the caption, you can check out her Instagram, her art station, and Twitter and website. In case you wanted to, see more of her work and maybe follow her on Twitter or stuff like that, you can go and check it out. And with that being said, how are we doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
And I actually saw something on your Twitter that you're going to be on GFD North UK. It's a seminar that's going to, I think, go on in summer this year, right? Could you tell us
exactly.
about that?
Yeah, sure. So it's an event organized by Ryan. I don't remember his name, but it's an event happening in Manchester in early August. I think it's 6th and 7th during the weekend, and there will be an awesome lineup of artists giving conferences. So grab your tickets because I'm excited to see actually the guys who are gonna give a talk, guys and girls actually who are giving talks there, because they are really amazing, high talented persons. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, and that's quite cool because of COVID, it's been a long time since those kind of events didn't happen. So I'm happy this is coming back now because I love those kind of events gathering students and professionals all around the world.
All right, interesting. Now, even for anyone who's going to check out your art station or just your Instagram, your works, we kind of could see a glimpse of what the niche you're really interested or usually is. How did that kind of interest start from, and just not just that, tell us how you got into the world of art and visual design. What was the moment that you're I want to become an artist?
Wow. So I was definitely not on the path to become an artist at all, because originally I wanted to be a French teacher abroad. Very different. I've always been creative though, but not drawing. I don't draw since I'm a kid. I started to learn quite late, actually, around my 20s, mid 20s, and that's a super long story. So I'm going to try to sum that up. But at some point, I had a turn in my vision of what I wanted to be professionally speaking, but it was not precise. I was still wondering, and I did a prep school to prepare the art school exams I had to pass, because in France with a lot of art schools are free, but you've got to pass an exam to get there. So it's quite competitive. So I did prep that, and I got it and ended up in art school in Poitiers. But it was contemporary art, modern art, so very different from what I do now. But that allowed me to touch and to discover tons of different practice and see where I would go. And I did like abstraction. That's so weird because right now I definitely don't do anything abstract. And I like to build things since I'm a kid, actually. So I was creating maquettes and miniatures of worlds to be explored. And that's how I passed my exam. But during these 3 years before my degree, one of my teacher, Hervé Joly, who loves video games, and I love video games since I'm a kid. And he organized a workshop with a school next to mine, which is called Engmin. It's a video game school. a French video game school, and he organized a workshop to crossover art and video games. It was at this time where people were wondering if video games were an art or not, and so he wanted to explore this, and that was great because I got to meet those students who were studying video games, and I didn't even know those kind of schools existed. I was like, wow, that's so cool. I mean, you can study that and then it becomes your job. That's so weird because, just like someone told me recently, obviously game exists, like movies exist and stuff like this, and people have to create them somehow. So obviously that's a job. But, well, I didn't know at the time. I didn't. I thought that would be something that would happen somehow, and well, basically that's how that's how it happened. That's how it happened to me, at least. So I met those guys, and I familiarized with them, and I decided to, because I was already in art, I loved video games. I was like, well, maybe I can learn on my own and build a portfolio. That's what I did then in my last year before my degree after school, and applied for an internship, and luckily I got it. And wow, first step in the video game industry.
All right, awesome. And speaking of video games, what are some of your favorite video games growing up?
The very first one that did mark me was Secret of Evermore on, I don't remember if it was on Nintendo or Super Nintendo, but Nintendo was the first console I ever had. And this game was my first RPG, a very beautiful game, even until now, in pixel art, beautiful OST. Really hard, way too complicated for me at the time. I was way too young. And after that, I would say my favorite video games. I'm a bit biased here, but it's not my favorite, but I do have a lot of affection for this game. It's called Remember Me. I know it did get sacked
Yes, I
quite
know
a
the
lot.
game.
Yeah, from Dontnod, the French studio.
Actually, I loved it. Honestly.
Yeah, well, I did like it as well, and I thought that the art was amazing in this game, the
Thank you,
VFX,
exactly.
and they're just crazy. And even till now, it's one of my favorite artworks. And gameplay-wise, it was very interesting and refreshing. They couldn't go to the maximum of what they wanted to do with this game, and that's a bit sad. But I still love this game. Yeah, but my favorite is probably Dark Souls, the first one.
Wow. So, have you played Elden Ring? Are you playing it?
Not yet, no. I need to buy it, but I'll buy it when I have time to play it, because I don't want just to play 1 hour every week. I want to just focus.
Yeah, I get it. And
But
yeah,
I can't wait.
yeah, wow, that's interesting. And how about Fallout games?
That's not my thing, actually.
Oh,
No,
interesting.
that's yeah.
Now,
No.
about movies and franchises that really inspired you, I assume that, of course, you like science fiction, right?
I do, of course.
All right, so tell the audience and anyone who's listening give us some good suggestions that we should watch, the things that inspired you and you just really like.
Movies?
Yes, movies, franchises, movies, series, books, comics, doesn't matter.
I do like this old movie now that is called Contact by Robert Zemeckis with Jodie Foster. I think it's a great movie even till now. There's not a lot of VFX, so it still stands up to today. And the story is beautiful. The characters are really well played, and it's quite close to I mean, it's science fiction, but it's quite close to what we feel and think until even nowadays. So that's a beautiful, beautiful piece. Obviously, I do like the. I mean, I'm not sure I can advise any movie that some science fiction fan never watched, but I mean, not all the aliens. Some aliens movies are great, and they're still even really good today. I'd say Interstellar as well. I know a lot of people disliked it, but I do love it. Um, well, it's hard because I think I'm
There's so
only
many,
gonna,
right?
yeah, and I feel like I'm only gonna give the obvious one, Blade Runner and stuff like this. So it's a tough
Did you watch
question
Firefly?
right now.
Firefly.
I think I did, but it's an old movie, right?
It's from 2000s. Firefly and Serenity. There's like a
Yeah,
one
yeah.
season series. Then there's like 2 years later, at the end of the season of the series, like a movie came out. Firefly, I think
What's the pitch? Because I mean,
it's kind
the,
of
the
like
name
a.
reminds me something, but
All
I
right.
can't picture
Uh,
it.
Basically, the theme is kind of like a space cowboy kind of stuff. There's, of course, without giving too much spoilers for anyone who might want to watch it. Basically, all right, how should I say it? Uh, because I'm not used to
Trapped.
giving a spoiler like free stuff. Do you
Right.
know Summer Glau, the actress? She's in it. Basically, it's a crew of like random people banded together from different backstories in a ship called Firefly because it does look like a firefly, and they encounter a lot of challenges. Wow, Ramtin, go ahead with giving that explanation. Like, wow, it's obvious they go through challenges. I mean, which protagonist doesn't? Like, yeah, but the setting. Like, here's the thing. I'm just gonna say this. I highly recommend everyone to watch it if you're a fan of like good writing and like good visual development, because if you like Space Cowboy, if you like any sort of post-apocalyptic type of like settings in general, I highly recommend like watching that one season of like Serenity. I think the series is called Serenity, but the movie is called
Okay.
Firefly, or it's reverse. I don't know. But I
Okay.
genuinely, the characters, the writing are really good, honestly.
All right. Fireflies. So yeah, when you say Space Cowboy, no, then I never watched it. I'm pretty sure about that.
All
But
right.
that's an interesting topic then. Nice mix of universe.
Yeah. And well, we talk about some stuff that inspired you and all that, but I was wondering, like in the introduction, I mentioned that of course you're a concept artist and a concept designer, but now I want to ask you this: what is the main subject, main branch of design you're focusing on now, and tell us about your experience from the start of it until now. Like, what I mean by that is, are you right now working as a concept artist, as I mentioned, and if so, what niche are you focusing on, basically? Like, what job or role do you wish to fulfill in the future in the game industry? Basically, what do you want to become a specialist at?
Sure. So yeah, I'm working as a concept artist. I prefer the concept designer title somehow, mostly because I feel like I'm not an artist, and so yeah, a bit cheating to say that concept artist, but I mean, it's under the same umbrella. Anyway, and I used to work in studios. Now I'm a freelancer for about a year now, and I mostly get contacted for science fiction things, either mostly environments and props and spaceships, luckily, because I love spaceships, a lot of spaceships actually. But I sometimes do characters as well. It depends. But so far, I mean, why science fiction? It's mostly because I mean, that was the theme of my first job. The first game I worked on was a science fiction game, and that somehow shaped my portfolio and the kind of studios I would apply to, because it's so specific that I only had that in my portfolio, so I couldn't really apply to other studios doing other genre like fantasy or horror. But I do love it. I do like science fiction, so that's great. That's a good match, I would say. Um, the Because I also love fantasy and all the genre. Right now, it's not that I feel like I'm running in circle, but I would like to explore more of my capacities of doing something else. So I'm working on building and creating new pieces around other genre so I can expand my universe. That's something I'm able to do now because I'm freelance. It was quite hard for me to do when I was still working in studios. Because I don't know, I didn't have the same dynamic and the same motivation. I would say that I did like working in studios, and that's great to have a team around, focus on the same goal. It was very good, and I did enjoy my time there. But sometimes on projects, your motivation really goes down, and it affects you professionally, on your hobbies, on your personal life. And I've got rid of all of this. So now I can find motivation again to do other things that I like. And moving forward, I'd like to expand this universe and also start exploring the movie industry that I never tried so far to step in.
Awesome. Good luck with that. And
Thank you.
I was wondering, some of your stuff I saw in our session. Do you also, what 3D softwares do you use, and how has the whole transition from 2D to 3D been for you?
That's an interesting question, because definitely when I started, I was only working in 2D. But I quickly understood the power of 3D in my workflow, the speed and the precision. So at the time I was using SketchUp. I started learning at 3D with SketchUp because it was easier for me, because it was close to drawing somehow. And then I moved to 3ds Max, but I can't. My brain doesn't work like this. I find it really difficult to be creative with any package that works like 3ds Max or Maya, because I'm not a technical person, and I don't want technical problems getting in the way of my creativity. I mean, with a paper, I can draw and get to what I want. And I want the same with a 3D software, but not through years and years of learning how this package works. So once I went to a talk, and I don't remember if it was Finian McManus or Jama Jorabaev, who are both artists using VR. And I discovered that you could sculpt and create stuff in VR and in 3D. And I was like, oh, this is cool. So I bought a headset the day after the event, and I started to explore those software like Gravity Sketch or Medium. I don't know if you know those software, yeah. And I found it so easy, so intuitive, and so creative that I was like, okay, this is for me, and this is my package, and I just got rid of 3ds Max, and now I model and sculpt everything in either Gravity Sketch or Adobe Medium, because it feels like drawing or sculpting with clay, and it's much closer to being creative than trying to find whatever I need in menus in 3ds Max. So yeah. I've been integrating that to my workflow for a couple of years now. So yeah.
All right, so awesome. So you basically added Gravity Sketch to your design process. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so let me see. First, of course, you come up with the ideas, then you do some sketches, then you try those sketches in Gravity Sketch,
Okay.
and you polish and refine till you come to a final, pleasing result, right? Is that your whole process right now?
Somehow, yeah. I mean, sometimes I directly start in Gravity Sketch because it's also a great way to sketch like in 2D, but in 3D. So I save up time there. I sometimes still do the first sketch on paper or in Photoshop during my coffee. So I'm not going there out on a blank canvas. So yeah, pretty much from start to finish in this kind of software. I set up the scene in Blender though. I mean, in VR, I mostly build things or parts of things, and I set up everything in Blender, and I do the rendering in Blender, and I always have a post-process phase in Photoshop because my 3D is not good. I mean, not good in sense of topology. So that's not something I deliver, and that's not something I can just set up in a rendering software and just lit and put materials and that's it. And I don't like somehow to just deliver a picture of a 3D object. So I always have this post-processed phase in Photoshop to make it my own, because, I mean, renderers are not at all the same, but I mean, you know, you get the same lighting, you get the same materials, so there's no personality in there, and I want to get that back with Photoshop.
Make those bright spots pop, actually, like make those colors pop.
Exactly. I want my decisions to be seen in the final image.
That's actually an interesting topic because Blender made the whole process of topology and all of that actually quite easy compared to like other softwares. I'm sure you can agree. But let me tell you something. Like there are some insane wizards when it comes to Blender. When you can see them all on Twitter and everywhere, like they do some, especially with it's all in the notes when it comes to Blender actually. And if you actually know technically be well versed in Blender, you can do a lot of stuff. It's crazy. And there was this Andrew Price had this kid on his podcast. He's, I think, even now 16 years old. He started Blender when he was 12 and a half, Ludwig something, and he's actually a pro now.
Okay. Wow.
I was like, and the stuff he does with Blender is kind of blows my mind. And I recently started 3D and Blender on all that stuff. It's not even like 2-3 months, and I barely haven't done much work actually because I've been busy with a lot of stuff, in my life. But aside from that, Blender has a lot of potential, and it's actually a meme in the 3D community that anyone who uses Blender can't shut up about using Blender. You're using 3D Max. Oh, have you tried Blender? This meme in itself as well. Because I mean, it's an amazing software, but yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy everything you can do with it, like sculpting and modeling and rendering, and it's the whole package. I mean, to be honest, I know it's already possible, but it's not very fluid. But I mean, when I'll be able to
switch easily in different modes.
From VR to Blender, but still keeping my headset on.
Oh,
that would be perfect.
Oh yeah, I think
I know it's already possible, but it's not. It's not that great yet. Yeah, it needs to be oiled more a little bit.
Yeah, but don't worry. In less than a year, I think some people are still working on a project like this, because the amazing thing about open source projects is this, because it allows a lot of people to develop on it. Add a little bit more value to it. Even in programming languages or any language that is open source has thrived a lot more, 100 times more than languages that are not open source. And I'm sure Blender will actually even become much greater at much better than Gravity Sketch when it comes to like VR stuff like that because of its. By the way, I'm not sure if Gravity Sketch is open source or not, but if that's not the case, I'm
No,
sure
no,
that
no.
then Blender will, I think, has a high chance of surpassing it because it's like a relatively new field in general, VR. Like by VR, I mean VR that you can actually like through a basic level can interact with the environment and stuff. It's relatively new. It's like an infant now. Now give it like 5-6 years, not even that, maybe not even next year. There's a lot of things that's going to change and progress, and I'm sure Blender will try to work on that as well. And
I hope so.
yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, I personally like, here's the thing, I might sound like a boomer, but I don't know, it's a hot take. I don't really. I mean, the tech looks amazing, but I'm not a really big fan of like AR, VR, and stuff like that. I mean,
Okay, what don't you like about it?
no, it's not that I don't like it. It's just I don't know. Like especially like AR is much more acceptable because I mean it could have a lot of more potential, like in different devices and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just don't enjoy VR, and I know it's kind of sounds like kind of weird because from me, I love technology and stuff like that. Like I personally wouldn't use it like that much. I don't know. It doesn't seem. I guess there's something off-putting about it. I don't know.
Well, the thing is that if you've got no particular need,
Yeah, exactly.
well, it's
Yeah,
like
and
having or not having a car.
yeah.
I guess.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, we talked about cars and driving for the podcast. And speaking of which, about like there's this I think thing I saw. I talked. Oh wait, it was the Nature with the Chuck. I think I had him on episode 153 like recently, and we were talking about I think some hard surface stuff, and he mentioned something called robo racers or something like that. And oh yeah, I remember he was talking about some of his favorite artists, and he mentioned one of the main artists of robo racers is a German guy named
Daniel.
Robin Dennis.
Oh, what? I don't know this guy, but I know Daniel Simon.
Oh yes, that I don't know why I missed that. Oh Jesus! And yeah. So what do you think about it? I mean, I'm asking you because you have like literally a book cover on your shelf right there.
Yeah, do I have to get it?
No, it's fine. It's fine. If you
Yeah.
want to, sure.
Well, I can. So yeah, I
All
think
right,
it's
thank you.
an extraordinary book.
For the audio listeners, you might want to just switch to YouTube to watch what we're going to look at.
Yeah,
And
so
yes, it's
that's
the artwork of Timeless Racer.
exactly from Daniel Simon. So it's a book that is published with lots of cars is designed and stories, fictional stories around those cars. I'm sure you can see it well.
Yeah, we can see it well.
So yeah, I love. I mean, this is definitely one of my favorite designer. For those who are not familiar with this guy, is he became famous to the wide audience, I would say, because he's designed the helicopter and some other things in the movie Oblivion with Tom Cruise. So yeah, I'm not a car lover, but I do like cars because of
designs
designs and technology.
Same.
So I usually do get books about cars, and the Robo Race that we were talking about is
Hot Wheels version of one of the cars.
Yeah, exactly, and it's beautiful car. It's a drone, so no driver, and they're doing like drone races actually. And I was lucky because I went to a Formula E Grand Prix with my brother and his girlfriend. I was in Berlin a couple of years ago, and because it's Formula E, so electric, there are some cool tech exposed, and there was one prototype of the Robo Race, and it was not this one because when they do test and they're taking data from the track, they need to put a driver in it. So they've got a version of the Robo Race that looks like a Le Mans car. so it's got cockpit. I mean, it's got cockpit. I'm trying to. I don't know if you see the kind of cars they've got at the Le Mans race.
Le Mans race. Let me actually type that.
Yeah, Mans. I'm not sure how to pronounce that in English because it's a French word.
Le Mans equipment.
No, if you type LE.
Got it. Circa 24 hours of Le Mans.
Yes, exactly. So the Robo Race looks like one of those cars. I mean, the prototype looks like one of those cars, and there is a driver in it. So the process. Okay, I'm not an expert, but the process is that they've got two cars. So they've got the drone version and the driver version. And the driver version would do the first lap. And actually, that was fun because one of the I don't remember his name, but the guy who designed those crazy clothes, like super futuristic Dune-ish.
There's a lot of people who do that stuff, but
yeah, but no, but oh god, acronym.
No,
no.
Could you give me some examples?
Clothes. I will send you a link. But I mean, the guy behind the brand acronym was one of the driver actually of these prototypes, like him. So they send a driver in the prototype during the first race to get the data and blah blah blah, and then they somehow put that in the drone, and then they analyze it and optimize it, and then the drone can do the race alone. That's quite interesting.
Without
sorry,
go on.
No, I think that's the faster drone car in the world, actually.
Oh, really?
The fastest, sorry. Yeah.
In the Le Mans circuit?
Oh, no. So that's definitely not part of Le Mans. It's just that the prototype version of this, because, I mean, that definitely doesn't look like a Le Mans car, but the prototype version of this looks like a Le Mans car.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, definitely. And I was gonna say, without getting too existential on all that stuff, about life, but when you think about what is going on in the past couple of years, step by step, all right, we're moving in a direction of that AI is going to be a huge part of our lives. And well, how does AI become strong and does more complex tasks? Is first to master the basic tasks. For example, I think it was in 2003 or 1997 or 8, I think. I'm sorry for not being super aware of this, but basically, long story short, there was this AI computer called Deep Blue, which was programmed and designed to beat Garry Kasparov. At the time, he was the world champion in chess, and he's one of the greatest chess players of all time. And here's the thing: for the first time, that was one of those first ever man versus machine type of stuff. And I think Deep Blue at some point, Deep Blue beat Garry Kasparov, if I'm not mistaken. There were a couple of matches, but at the time it was so shocking that oh my god, man! But I mean, right now, of course, there are algorithms of advanced so much. There's Stockfish and Alpha Zero, and there's another one basically chess AIs who right now, I think the highest rated person alive, as a grandmaster in chess, is 2,880 or something, Magnus Carlsen. But right now, the supercomputers that play chess and the algorithms, they are estimated to have a ranking rating of 4,000. They're that strong. So here's the thing: chess, and they also did it with Dota 2, which Elon Musk's company did to try to make an algorithm to try to beat pro esports teams, which they did.
I didn't know that.
And here's the thing: now they're doing it with driving cars, which if the algorithms can be strong enough to evade. Listen, I'm sure after the cars, the robo racers can beat all the top pro drivers, the most experienced players. They're going to add more challenges to it. For example, I don't know, make it to be able to predict how would it drive under less light, or maybe a slippery road, or I don't know, try to make the algorithm basically more stronger this way so it can learn from its mistake, and on and on and on. this trend will happen in everything. Right now, it's happening at the very basic minimum of like tasks. Um, but like later on, we're going to see like robots maybe even do art. Right now, like there's some generative
Yeah,
stuff,
some yeah
but I
already.
mean
Yeah.
that's like a really general thing to say. Like do art, what does that mean? But for example, for concept art, there's some. I had someone on the podcast called Kate Kibar. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
great artist.
and he's like this is sharing a lot of like generative art
Hmm.
from Google AI, and I'm like, and some of them actually look super cool, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
wait a minute, like my dreams of becoming a concept artist is gonna look like a little bit more bleak if it's gonna get struggling.
No,
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 I
I
know.
don't think so. But I think that's just a crazy tool, definitely. I mean, I need to get into it because the thing is that when that kind of tech showed up, people were like, "Oh well, you all the guys using photo bashing, blah blah blah. Oh, your job is yeah, it's gone." Well, that's not true. I was actually quite excited to see that because I was like, "Well, that's a new tool to my." For my workflow. I mean, I can do crazy stuff with that. I mean, I can get a base from this and then push it further, but I can generate quick ideas quickly. I don't think it would be the death of concept art, not at all. It would just be another tool like 3D because it's powerful. I mean, you can do environments in it. Some you can do faces, character faces, hyper realistic. You wouldn't even know that an AI generated this kind of stuff. I think that's just another tool in our belt. The thing is, maybe we get there somehow, but concept art is about decisions, just like art direction, right? And at the end, it's the decision made for a certain product. I know that logically speaking, I would say it's A plus B equal to C, right? So I guess that somehow you can translate that into a language that an AI can understand, and yeah, it will do the job. But I don't think it would do it as good as a human could do. It would give, I mean, in terms of emotions, I would say. It would definitely give a great base, and that's why it's such a great tool because maybe you can solve like the lower level problems that we usually encounter right doing concept art. But then you can take this and push it further. And anyway, I mean, you give the same base generated by an AI to different concept artists with the same goal, they will still do it a different way. So I mean, yeah, to me, that's just a very, very interesting tool that definitely need to get my hands on because I've been lazy, but I need to I need to try to incorporate that to my workflow.
Yeah, I mean, you actually pointed out a lot of like interesting stuff. I mean, as I said it in a really general way, but like, yeah, I mean, even with photo bashing and stuff like that, you still need to have an understanding of like art fundamentals and stuff like that to be actually able to use photo bashing in the first place. Like of course, I mean, not just that, even with the AI stuff. I mean, there's some things that as you said, like for example, the feelings, the emotions in artworks and stuff like that. I think one of the safest, actually, like, just speaking right now, one of the safest career options, like in the future, will be creative fields, because creativity is not just logical; it's much more complex. It encompasses so many aspects that you shouldn't just look. Of course, I mean, you don't look at naturally at a piece of work and your process as just logically, because that's right now what our computers super good at. So computers are super good at and great at logic, even better than humans. But when you add like a level of abstraction to it, and when it comes to like want to like add more layers of abstraction, like be creative with it in other senses and aspects. I mean, of course, robots can do that. I mean, right now can't do that. But honestly, I don't like. Here's the weird thing. I try to always be open minded about stuff, and maybe I'm wrong, but there's like a sense in me that says like there are things that could never be replaced no matter how much technologically we get advanced. I think like some of them are just genuine human feelings and emotions. I know that might sound kind of like corny and cheesy what I'm trying to say, but long story short, I don't think you can necessarily replicate. I mean, you can try to mimic feelings or stuff like that, but actual feelings, I don't think that's kind of possible because it. All right, see, this is where what I like about podcasts, because we get into these rabbit holes, we dug ourselves deeper, and we don't know where it's going to lead. So I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. The reason of that is, I think, because I don't know much about philosophy and like religion and all that stuff without getting into it, but this is my theory, because we have souls. And because we have souls, we can create sometimes really amazing artworks or do certain stuff, and machines don't have it. I don't know. Like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like a logical response. I know it sounds kind of kooky and crazy. But yeah, I mean, maybe one day they try to, I don't know, store souls in unit and they sell it to the rich. I don't know. You never
Well, I
know.
mean, I think Elon Musk is already on the mission to to do this kind of stuff. To be honest, I would love to see that happen. I'm not sure I'll be living long enough to see that happen. I hope that somehow that's possible. I know that's weird. I mean, I do have this discussion quite often with my boyfriend, and also about autonomous cars and stuff like this. I mean, he works in in a car field in Formula One, so we usually do get these kind of discussions, like about how AI could help with different stuff. We've got complete different opinions about those things, but I hope that one day, yeah, we can reach this level that you're talking about, that somehow right now is not possible. That would be interesting. But just like you said, I mean, at a certain time when this kind of technology exists, there will still definitely be things I think that the AI wouldn't be able to do, mostly because humans evolve as well. And I mean, we don't know. I mean, just like, okay, very maybe easy example, but just like we didn't know that chips of credit card would exist, and smartphone would exist, and internet would exist, and all this stuff, you know. I mean, 200 years from now, what kind of new technology we will have, what kind of new things maybe humans will be able to have to perceive, to whatever. So obviously you can always develop a technology when you know it, and you can incorporate the data and the goal you want into it. But before, you've got to experience it, otherwise you can't put it in an AI. So, but I'm looking forward to see this. I hope I live long enough.
Awesome. And well, speaking of that, I was wondering if there was like a way to still stay as long as you can, like, you know, as long as you want, would you do it? Like, all right, let me give you an example. Like, if, for example, there was an option to kind of like, I don't know, store your consciousness into like a mechanical or digital body, would you do it?
I think so, but I mean, I've got a weird ethics when it comes to technology advancement, progression, evolution. I love that, and I'm thankful, and I think the world is thankful I'm not a scientist or an engineer, because I think I will have no ethics, because I'm so curious that I would love to. Well, yeah, I see you doing a weird face. And I mean, when I said I would not have any ethics,
no, it's fine. I mean, I don't have any ethics as well. Cheers.
It's the scene somehow of the human race to be curious and to see how far we could go, you know. So I think, I mean, to answer your question, yes, I think I would do it, because I think that I would regret not trying it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen? I mean, it's gonna fail and blow us all up. I mean, I really enjoyed your villain origin story. Thank you so much. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I actually thought, Yeah, sorry, go on.
Sorry, you are going to answer your own question? Because I'd love to know the answer,
All right.
actually.
Well, actually, it's kind of weird. Like, all right, let me actually think about it for a second, because actually recently I've been quite like crippled with, existentialism myself. So it's actually a fresh topic for me. I don't know. Depends. If I still have work to do and I feel satisfied and I don't feel satisfied, yeah, sure, I'll try it. Right, risk it. What's gonna happen? And if not, then yeah, I'll try it for fun. Yeah. So both scenarios, I'll try it. Yeah.
So, okay, I've got a question for you then. I mean, if tomorrow rocket to Mars, we need passengers, you're never gonna come back to Earth. Are you going?
Well, here's the thing. All right. There's some conditions. I mean, of course. Can I still record my podcaster? Is that possible?
Oh, on Mars?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Wait. Can I ride the dune? Can I ride the dune buggy on the Mars?
Well, that would be fun. I would love to do that as well.
Well, maybe at my retirement age, I might do that. But now, I mean, there's still a lot of places I'd like to go one day that are still on this planet. I mean, for a quick travel, sure. But when you say it, like phrase it like this, that you go to Mars and don't come, I'm not like, no. I mean, I could just take an acid trip with some magic mushrooms and go to space by myself. I mean, there's no need to go and get a rocket ship or something. I mean, come on. Like, I mean, if I really want to see the world from outside, like the stratosphere, I mean, that's not a really hard thing to access. I mean, come on. You can get high. I mean, yeah, sorry. This is.
I did
Yeah, sorry. The podcast is not very educational right now. I'm sorry. Kids, don't do drugs, please.
Definitely not Peggy 13.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay, that's interesting. That's a very, very interesting answer, actually. I'm glad I asked the question.
My pleasure. And well, all right. So, have you been to space, by the way? Just wondering. Or would you like to go to
Have
space?
I ever been to space?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'd love to. I've never been, unfortunately, but I'd love to go to space, definitely, and to Mars. And I remember when I was at Frontier, we were talking a lot about this kind of stuff with my colleague Ben Andrews, very great artist, by the way. And he was asking me what would be my first question to an alien race if I have got to meet one. And I remember I said, could you show me your spaceship, please? Yeah. I mean,
that's actually such a cool question, actually. And here's the thing, like, this is actually such an interesting topic as well. Well, I'm actually gonna tell you something that you should definitely watch after the podcast. And to anyone who's listening, let me try to see if I can find it. Basically, I found it this morning on YouTube. There was this actually old French cartoon in the 70s. And let me see if I can find it. Basically, without spoiling too much, let me give you the gist of it. It's a fictional world where I found it. Its name is Fantastic Planet. The video title in the YouTube is A World Where Humans Are Raised as Pets, which is super interesting and trippy. It's like it's actually super, super interesting. Like, piece of the video just covered the whole thing in 10 minutes, but it's super awesome. And about the alien part, like, actually, I said this story like once before on the Ahmed Al-Duri episode, because we got into alien stuff as well on the podcast. Have you seen a UFO yourself?
I wish. I wish, I mean, I definitely did see some weird stuff in the sky. I'm pretty sure there were not UFOs, but I'd love to believe. It's not that I'd love to believe. I'd love them to have been UFOs, but I'm pretty sure they're not. But no. Well, have you?
Yeah, actually, I did once in my life, like actually legit. And if you're interested, I can say it again if you want. The story of it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Here's the thing. Here's the weird thing, actually. As you can remember, like, in the early 2000s, there was a lot of like videos of UFO sightings and stuff. And now, as the camera quality got better, there are less UFO videos. So there's that. So I need to first mention that, and also I need to mention that right now the drones are so advanced. Right now, they can maneuver so weirdly that if you just attach some bunch of neon LED lights to a drone in the night, you could easily mistake it for a UFO. Like, I also am aware of it, and I'm also thirdly and lastly aware that a lot of people lie just for attention. But actually, this is legit. Let me tell you. It was about, like, I think 4 or 5 years ago. Like, it was in the spring break from my university. Me and my aunts and uncles' family, we all together went on a trip to the south of Iran, in a small city called God. Why did I forget it? I even went there twice. It's in the Bushehr province, basically. Siraf. That's the name of it. It's a really super old ancient city, which is like one of those 2,000, 3,000-year-old ports that have been one of the trade hubs of ships from China, Africa, and stuff like that. Actually, half the city is underwater, by the way. Like, it's in the ruins of it is actually on the ocean floor near the port. And the thing is, we on our way back, all right, it was, I think, 8 p.m. In the car, my brother was driving, and my dad was in the front seat, the other front seat. I was in the middle, and my aunt and mom were on my side. So I was sitting back seat in the middle, all right? Here's what we saw. On our way, we saw this, if you could visualize me in the back seat, all right? And we're going forward, and if this is the car, on here in front of us, there was a ball of green thing, bright emitting green thing, just floating, levitating like this, like crazy. Then it stopped for a second. Then it did whoosh, went to the sky, and it disappeared. And it was so trippy. We all looked at each other and was like, "Did that just happen?" And yeah, our car, we actually pulled over, and my uncle's car, which was behind us, also pulled over and said, "What happened?" And my other brother from the other car, first thing he saw, shouted at us, said, "Did you guys see that?" And I was like, "Yeah." So yeah, that was actually one of the most anticlimactic UFO sightings ever. But yeah, I mean, for first, I don't know, it could be a possibility that it might be prototype Chinese, military jet pilot or something. I don't know. It could be, but the movement was it's a thing you would see in hallucinations.
Okay.
It was weird.
Yeah, I mean, did you sleep this night?
Yeah, actually, I have.
I mean, in the sense of after what happened, or could you just not stop thinking about that?
I still think about it to now. I mean, that's why I'm telling you this.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have those aren't really super important, but I had a lot of weird, a little bit too realistic dreams, which I'm not gonna cover because I mean, dreams are dreams. They're not definite proof. But I actually factually saw it with my own eyes. I mean, come on. And but it's kind of weird to say this because right now the amount of UFO sightings, there's also this saying that even 100 years ago people would say, "Oh, I saw a miracle. I saw this guy a fire came out of his hands." But as the camera got invented and a lot of things got better, the miracles got less and less. So I understand there's a lot of tomfoolery going on in this stuff. I understand there's a lot of fake stuff and people do a lot of attention. So I'm aware of that. But that being said, that was weird, honestly.
Yeah, I'm sure. To be honest, I'd love to experience this kind of, what the fuck situation? What did I just see? Was that even real? Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I think your best chance if you want to experience that is to go to uninhabited, far off places in the wild, and at nights you might be lucky and see some.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I mean, mathematically speaking, you have the best chances there.
Right. Do you think that's where UFOs hide?
Could be. I mean,
Could be.
The most common theory is that the aliens hide under the ocean, which there's a lot of videos on subjects of about the UFOs, light coming out of the ocean. There's all documentations. I know. By the way, sorry everyone who's listening. I'm self-aware that this is kind of turning into ancient aliens type of stuff. But yeah, I mean it's fun. I mean let's chat. And like one of the third, there's like texts from like old books of sailors, like from like 400 or 500 years ago, that they all mentioned the light coming under the ocean, like there's sudden disruptions and all that stuff. And I mean, there's so many possibilities. Like possibilities are endless with aliens.
Sure,
I mean,
doesn't mean that they're alien, though. I mean, if they're, I mean, there are so many species we don't know deep down in the oceans because it's so deep that
but do they
it's
come out of
hard
the sky and go to sky?
Yeah, okay, maybe not. If there are cages, I definitely want to see them. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. Even in 2020, no one really like give a crap about, but Pentagon actually officially like approved the existence of UFOs, and actually they give it, I think, a new name. Like for the first time, they kind of like approved the existence of aliens and stuff like that in 22. You can actually check it out for anyone who's listening. And for me, I went down this rabbit hole because you said, you and your colleagues were talking about if you saw an alien, what would you ask? It depends. Like, I think the best answer is to always go by your gut. So if that alien kind of looks sus and probably wanted to do some operations on you, just go with your gut and punch them and run. If that's not the case, yeah, just stay curious, see if they're chill. Maybe they're cool guys. They like the same shows as us. You never know. No.
Oh, who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? I'd love to know one day.
For now, let's jump back into the track of what we're talking initially. I hope you all enjoyed this rabbit holes we jump into in the podcast. And well, speaking of the mentorships, you're going to open up some mentorship slots, right? For people to.
So I'd love to, mostly because I've had some demands, I would say, because somehow. Let's say that the niche in concept art, concept design I am is quite highly searched by companies and studios, and there's not a lot of people out there. There are still a few, obviously, but not enough. There's definitely high loads of work in this field, and a lot of people. Young students starting don't really know how to get their heads around the topic. So I'm still thinking about it. Obviously, I'm preparing the best way to do it, to be able to teach someone something. So it will take time, but at some point, yes, I would love to be able to do some mentorship, the one-to-one mentorship. I do love pedagogy. I do love not necessarily teaching, but being a little help in someone's development. I like to be around students. I go to some schools sometimes to give conferences or to do workshops with the students. And I do love seeing how people can grow. And one of the best, reward is to see someone who is clearly new to the field, new to the topic, struggle at the beginning and then succeed and over deliver. That's just crazy, and I'd love to help people do that. So I'm thinking about it. That would be very, very interesting in doing this in the future.
All right, awesome. So if anyone is interested in doing hard surface stuff or doing assets and visual development for sci-fi genre or stuff, or generally just concept art, you like your stuff, you can keep an eye out for the mentorship courses and the status on our website as well, which is in the description down below.
Thank you very much.
Well, I also want to ask you about some of your past experiences, working on previous IPs? I mean, if there's of course no NDAs involved, I assume.
There's always NDAs involved.
Yes, I mean, of course, but I mean,
unfortunately.
do all of them still stand? I mean, that's a
Yeah,
yes.
well,
Yeah.
yes. And I mean, I can talk about a couple of things definitely, but
Yeah, sure.
but definitely there are some. Yeah, I'll never be able to talk about or show anything from.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
But yeah, so far, I mean, I've been lucky from the start of my career because after my internship, I got to work on. I got hired for a year to work on a sci-fi video game project in France called Dual Universe in the studio called Nova Quark, and that was cool. But after that, my contract ended, and I was looking for a new work, a new studio to hire me. But in the meantime, I went freelance not because I wanted to, but because I got contacted by one guy one day on LinkedIn, Trammell Ray Isaac, the art director at the time, the art director at the a Bosky studio working on Lawbreakers. It's a game that unfortunately did close his servers because it was a FPS multiplayer game. It had very strong competitors like
Fortnite, PUBG.
No, it was at the time that Overwatch came out.
Ah.
So when the shortly after the first teaser trailer was released, they announced Overwatch, and the art direction was somehow so close to Overwatch. Or I would say Overwatch was so close art direction wise to the project I was working on that they did have to. I mean, I was not inside the studio; I was just a freelancer. But I guess that from this announcement, they had to delay and to review a little bit of their goals, mostly because you don't get out there as an indie studio and try to fight with Blizzard. That doesn't work. So yeah, but that was a cool experience working on Lawbreakers. I was mostly doing props. The art director told me he did like the props I did for Dual Universe, the previous game I was on, and I was like, I'd love you to do the same for the game. So I was like, yeah, let's go. And that was my first freelance experience years ago, and that was pretty cool. And then right after this, out of nowhere, I just get contacted to work on Mass Effect Andromeda, not directly by BioWare, but by Volta. It's a Canadian outsourcing studio, amazing artist. And I was like, how the fuck did it? Sorry, I'm not sure I can swear, but how did it find me?
You can swear. Fuck, let's go. I don't have any sponsors. Let's go.
I mean, why me? I mean, there's so many people out there doing cool stuff. Why me? But actually, it's mostly because at the time my portfolio was filled with props. And I mean, props in the field of concept art is definitely what most people consider as being the worst thing you could do in concept art. When, to be honest, I love it. I have fun doing it, but yeah, there's not a lot of people who want to do this. Obviously, when you're working in studio, you have to do it because there's a lot of props to design, and you can't always do the environments or characters because there's always more props than environments and characters in a game. That's how it is. You need things to populate the world. So I think they found my folio because it was filled with props, and that's everything they needed. So I got to design props for our alien races for Mass Effect Andromeda, and that was pretty cool. Obviously, I did not expect the reception of the game to be the way it is. the way it has been. But it was still a great experience for me. And I didn't know what was going on because I was not working directly for BioWare. I was working for Volta, so I had no idea how, I would say, chaotic maybe the development of this game was. From my side, it was cool, I would say. And so yeah, those were two major things that happened at the beginning of my career, very beginning. It was just unbelievable for me, coming out of nowhere after my first job, getting those kind of gigs. And that helped me then getting hired by Frontier. This is when I moved to Cambridge, because I was living in Paris so far. I did work on Elite Dangerous, which is a sci-fi game, an MMO, where you drive spaceships around the galaxies, and it's pretty cool. It was very nice. We were a nice big team, a good size team of concept artists. We were 5, including my art director, lead concept. And Elite Dangerous, there is a lot of weapons and props and stuff to design. So that's basically, what I've been doing there, with a couple of spaceships and human and alien spaceships. And those were fun because the alien designs we had to do, the alien props or spaceships and everything, this is where you could just like unleash your creativity, because it's aliens, so obviously you've got some rules to respect, art design, art direction wise, but these were super fun to develop and to pitch, and you could see the team getting excited about the ideas our concept team was gathering and putting out there. These were the best moments, definitely at Frontier, designing the alien stuff for the Guardians and the Fargoids. And then I moved on. I moved to work at Creative Assembly on an IP I unfortunately can talk about. I can only say that it's a first-person shooter. I don't work at Creative Assembly anymore, so I don't even know how it's going there. But it's from the time I was there, I know it's an exciting IP, and I just can't wait they release it. But I can't say much more about it.
Yes.
Now I'm freelance, so I'm working on different projects. I'm working for things people consider really bad. I'm mostly working for NFT projects, actually. So, but to me, they're regular clients. So,
Join the dark side. You're on the Sith Lord side. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, I mean, I really don't like this kind of judgmental attitude towards people who do NFTs. I mean, here's the thing: it's a whole can of worms for of itself. But when I think it's kind of like moronic to be judgmental of an artist trying to doing NFT contracts to make money. I mean, it's just another contract. Who cares if it's for NFTs or not? I mean, of course, there's a lot of problems with NFT, general
definitely.
society and community in general. Of course, but it's so kind of condescending to try to judge someone because they're for example, doing NFTs. They're trying to make money. It's as simple as that. Who doesn't like money? The same person who usually judges people, oh, they're selling out, they're doing NFTs, they're doing 3D apes, I don't know, some stuff like that. The same pair of people who say that would in an instant do the same job for the 1/10 of the money if they could. We're all trying to, I don't know. So I guess, but I don't like this judgmental attitude, honestly. I mean, I have a lot of problems with the NFTs basically in general, most of it, but it's so moronic to be judgmental towards artists in that sense.
I definitely understand why people get upset about NFTs and other NFTs in particular, but I don't have a set in stone, as say, opinion about this. Well, I don't myself do NFT. I'm still interested in it. I'm interested of knowing how it works and blah blah blah. What I do is not sold as NFT. I mean, I do regular. I mean, I don't have to justify myself, but I mean, I do regular concept art and stuff like this for those companies. So to me, they're just asking whatever other, I'd say, normal clients would
of
ask me
course. I
to
mean,
do.
yeah, 100%. And
The rest is their business.
yeah, just give me the money. I'll get the person. I'll kill the person, basically like a mercenary. Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, about the whole NFT thing in general, without like going deep into it, a lot of the we have a special guest right now. What's the name?
Void.
Audio listeners, go to YouTube, go to 1 hour and 11 minutes, and see Mr. Void, a little cute, evil-looking yet so kind.
Yeah, evil
Well,
looking.
please don't show us your butthole. Thank you so much. And yeah, as I was saying, there's a lot of problems with the NFT community, which I think the most thing mainly stems from the fact that most of the collectors there are the people who got rich. Yeah, thank you for your input, Void. Are the people who got rich off of like buying crypto early on. Like, as you can see, like a lot of the collectors on Twitter, especially, they're not really connoisseurs of art or don't know any art. Like, if someone like pays like, I don't know, $50,000 for like a JPEG of a Pepe the Frog, that doesn't mean like this is just one silly little example. There's so many more aspects to the whole thing I'm saying, but long story short, it's fine. By the way, I enjoy the meows. Like, it's fine.
Sorry, I've got to just put some food in his
plate. Sure, go on. Yeah, it's fine, of course. And what food are you gonna feed him?
I don't know the word in English, but it's like croquettes. I'm just gonna show you.
These ones, yeah. My mom now feeds this stuff to my cats in Iran. Did you feed it?
Yeah. That's why it's not.
Do they have a certain set of time where they get in day?
Yeah, actually.
Oh, you missed out his time.
Exactly.
Now he was kind of getting angry. Where's my food? Because our cats are like that as well. We feed them twice, like once in the morning when we go out and once in afternoon, evening. They have 2 shifts and they always they sit behind the windows ready for their food. Like,
Yeah.
The cats are super punctual animals. Like, that's kind of interesting.
Definitely.
But yeah, long story short, NFT collectors, not so very bright people, not all of them, but majority. And if someone works for NFT, they're not Antichrist, all right? Chill down, people. And but honestly, the technology is kind of exciting, but as with everything, when like a lot of money is involved, a lot of like, wrong eyes could be also drawn to the whole thing now in this situation, NFTs, which, as you can see, a lot of like athletes and famous personalities and celebrities are like, they're probably, I literally can imagine this whole dialogue, and their managers like, yo, you gotta check this out. This guy sold this ape for like $24 million. We gotta make an NFT, dude. Your fans are dumb enough to buy them. And they make this cheap ass like generative 2000 web 2.0 bullshit, and they try to sell this to their fans. Is so disgusting. Stuff like this is why people don't like NFTs, not because the take is bad.
I definitely understand that. I mean, no, I'm not gonna give my opinion on this.
It's a whole broad topic. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's so political, I would say.
Yes, exactly.
I won't get into this. Yeah,
especially in art world, it's so polarizing. I actually got rejected by an artist because I asked them, would you come on the podcast? And I said, no, your podcast promotes NFTs and I don't like that. And of course, politely, they said. But I was like, oh, that's weird. Because at the time, I used to promote every artist that came onto my show. And if they minted any NFT, I would promote them. And not just NFTs, I promote every guest that comes on the podcast, regardless of whatever they do, they drop a course, they drop an NFT, I promote because I want to help them, you know? And yeah, because of that, apparently that's kind of like too, as you said, political for
Yeah.
stuff that people want to stay away from. And yeah, and speak of like, we talked about a bunch of, variety of different subjects right now, but I think one thing that I ask everyone usually since I think day one, which is I think an interesting question, is this: who are your favorite artists and designers that have inspired you the most? And I know most artists are not good with names, and there's a lot of people. But what names right now pop into your mind?
Definitely, I would say there is Aaron Beck. I'm not sure you have to present this guy because it's super well known, but he does the coolest robots on earth. That's it. He used to work for Weta Workshop. Did great work on the game, the movies from Neil Blomkamp, I think I think he did work on Chappie, Elysium, and I'm not sure he worked on District 9 though. But yeah, Aaron Beck. Aaron Beck. There is Fred Ogis, who is a French guy, who, in my opinion, is not known enough. Mostly because I think he is a discreet person, but he did work actually on Remember Me. This is how I discovered his work because. He is great at everything, props, environments, characters. He's got a great graphic eye, great shapes and use of colors. Yeah, amazing artist. There is there is this guy from I think he's on the Hello team. It's called David Haydoff. Not sure how to pronounce his name. I think his name is German. Really good science fiction, vehicles, weapons, props, robots. He's got some amazing, interesting, creative robots designs that I've never seen anywhere else. I do like how crazy, visually crazy his designs are, and really well thought and engineered. So that's a very nice combination you want to see.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, is there anyone else?
There'll be tons of artists I could quote, but I think that'll be enough.
Fair enough. And well, let's break away a little bit about like all this art related stuff. Let me ask you this: what area beside the area you're working on right now, which is of course art related and visual arts right now, would you be interested to explore and learn or do in the future? Like what other hobbies or interests you have?
I do like music. I don't play often. I've got my guitar who's taking dust. My piano is taking less dust because I do like piano. I do to relax. Hey, sorry.
It's fine. Take your time.
Hobby-wise, yeah. Well, I'm definitely also a Netflix person, right? I do watch TV and series like everyone else, but I would say, yeah, music and French bande dessinée, French comics. That's my thing. Those are my hobbies. I'm quite a simple person. Music
Awesome.
and reading.
No, I mean, what should it be? Should it be bungee jumping or something, or some extreme sport? Those are super cool hobbies.
Yeah, well, I used to. Those are my hobbies right now because I'm stuck in south of France with no sea next to me. But when I was younger, I love extreme sports. So when I was younger, I was doing skateboard and aggressive roller and surf. That's all the stuff I can't do here. Surf definitely not because there's no sea around or close to me. And I think I won't do roller the way I was doing it when I was younger, mostly because now I'm too old and I'm too afraid of breaking my little things that give me money every day. So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually such a like a relatable. That kind of hits home for me too because before like I got serious about art, like I immigrated from Iran like 3 years ago, roughly, right, to Turkey, and of course my stay here is temporary. And but long story short, before I got serious about it, of course I liked art. Like it's the whole story of how I got into it, but this episode is not about me. But the thing is, at first I put art aside and tried to focus on one of my main goals and passions that I've always had, which was martial arts. And I wanted to go pro at submission grappling and MMA and stuff like that. And I trained really hard for 2 years, even during Corona and pandemic and all that. And yeah, when Corona hit, I got into art a little bit more. And when the Corona got it kind of not ended, it still is going on kind of, but even when it got a little bit less and more chill, I even started like training super hard while I was doing a podcast, while I was doing a bunch of other stuff, while I was taking a class, while I was working on a job, like so complex. I was just the schedule was cramped, but I was still doing it because I loved it. But the problem was I kept getting really bad injuries, and and I encountered a lot of egotistical assholes in the gyms as well. I mean, you would be surprised, and you would be surprised that someone who has been in martial arts must be humble or something, but no. Yeah, don't want to get into that. Yeah, I agree with you, Boyd, 100%. Yeah, I mean, people are messed up, and yeah, I started getting really bad injuries. Like I got a really bad, like I tore my neck a bit, my muscles. Like that's how bad it was.
Oh no.
That happened once. I kind of broke one of my fingers and my foot, and I kept getting injured. I got really bad muscle spasms, and yeah, I literally for the sake of art, I dropped BJJ. Hello.
Stop yelling.
Wait, is his nails white or did you paint it?
No, it's got the tip of his
Oh my god, that's so cool. That's
it's so cute.
Oh,
so cute. And it's got a
little thing on his eyes, right?
Yeah.
His right eye.
Really?
Oh my god, audio listeners, please go check the YouTube version. Please go to the mark 1 hour and 22 minutes.
That's how you sell videos and podcasts with cats.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put this as the teaser for this episode. Yeah, I'm gonna put this as one of the teasers on the stories. Yeah. And yeah, I dropped it for the sake of art because I was like, I'm just getting injured. It's not adding anything positive to my life. So what the hell am I doing? So I dropped it. But yeah, once I actually get to somewhere, once I actually immigrated to my final destination, and I get a little bit more established, I actually want to, as a fun or hobby, you do sometimes you do some stuff not because of attention, or you're just doing it for yourself because you even sometimes like to keep it secret. Like I would love to compete in amateur MMA matches later on, at that scenario just for myself because it's kind of fun when I think about it. Yeah, but I totally what you mean when you talked about surfing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, just like you, I mean, I used to do karate in competitions as well, younger. I do miss that a lot.
That rush of outsmarting your opponent. Right?
Yeah, definitely, and also the mastering of yourself. Because I mean, there's different variations of karate, but the one I was practicing is a no contact sport, right? You've got to.
Was it Shotokan?
I don't remember the name. I'm so bad. I'm really bad. I didn't study everything about karate. But I mean, yeah, you've got to hit close enough, but not touch. So you've got to master yourself. You have to have the strength, the precision, and the mastering on yourself. And that's what I like. And I do miss the competitions of it. And yeah, if I could, I would just. Start again and do it just for fun.
One wrong move and you lose 4 of your fingers. Yeah, I get why you wouldn't want to do that now. Yeah, even with the gloves, you can easily fracture your bones, especially these are made for piano, small. See, this bone is so small. There's 3 bones in this, for example, or this, and just one wrong move. and you can't use it for not just this, your whole hand. It's kind of weird. And yeah, even for a while, my right hand got injured, and I had to use my left hand for a lot of writing and stuff, which was kind of awkward.
Oh man.
Yeah, you get to appreciate this stuff when you don't, when you're not able to use them. Yeah. And well, we've reached the final question and section of the podcast, which is called Final Words. I should probably rename this because it sounds kind of corny and dramatic, but all right, let me actually explain what it means. Imagine in a limited amount of time, in a window of opportunity of time that you have right now, you have the opportunity to, as a human, say anything or leave a message, and it could be anything, a message or messages to another human being, and that another human being is anyone who's listening to this podcast and also listening to Voice Meows in the future, at any point in the near future. If that's the case, what do you have to say?
First, to those who are listening, thank you for staying here until the end. I think I'll just leave sorry to disappoint everyone, but a personal message to my parents, because that's definitely thanks to that's the cut.
Oh, that's awesome! Wait, please go on. No, I don't mind it.
That's definitely thanks to them that that I am here and that I can do what I love to earn my life. So yeah.
And do you have anything, not just a single thing, to anyone who's listening?
For people who are listening, I would say if you're a creative, there will always be people who are going to try by ignorance to discourage you, to tell you that maybe the job you want to do is not a real job, or that it's tough, there is competition, only a few gets it. Yeah, well, this few might be you. I mean, you're the only one aware of your skills and capabilities. So yeah, just go for it. Don't stay too long listening to what other people have to say. It's your life, not theirs.
All right, awesome. And well, thank you so much for that answer, and thank you so much for coming by for this episode. Where can people contact you if they had any questions?
They can contact me through Twitter, mostly because this is the platform I'm most active on, or through email. My email is on my website, and my website is www.emilierinna.net.
Yeah, I put this already in the caption, the link to your website as well. There's no need to worry about that. And speaking of, the thing you said for the audience, it's kind of interesting. I need to also mention that without sounding too corny and cliche, I recently, as I mentioned in the middle of the podcast, that I've been having a lot of basically philosophical issues, especially relating to existentialism. And yeah, I mean, it's a nice contrast, don't worry. Jesus. It's fine, the cat wants to play. He got the zoomies. And basically I discovered a lot of YouTube videos of this not recently, 8 years ago, passed away pro wrestler called Ultimate Warrior, which he surprisingly was a super knowledgeable and articulate and philosophical guy. And his videos was a real eye-opener for me, made me help with my perspective a bit. And the fact that you said, one of the things that he kept trying to say was the fact that everyone's unique, they have their own, and it sounds of course corny, it's not actually corny, but because at this day and age there's this whole culture of motivation and stuff like that, so it makes it kind of weird to say this kind of obvious stuff, you're unique, you just have to believe in yourself. We've heard this 1,000 times in different ways, but honestly, I mean, that's the case. Because if you think about it, no one is the same unless you have an identical twin. Even if that's the case, you're still not the same to some extent. Just, I think, follow your heart and gut, see where it leads you. And if it leads you to a certain professional job, or not just job, craft in general, like a field or skill, try to improve and hone it, drown yourself in it, and the end result will be something unique because it has your imprint of soul and uniqueness to it. And yeah, just I think don't just block out the negative noise. Also, I think block out the positive noise as well, because positive noise is like sometimes toxic positivity, which is also, I think, super annoying as well. Not just that, because it could, be a hindrance to your work in progress. Because when someone tells you
Agree.
you're perfect or not, like it sounds kind of, it doesn't sound real sometimes, and you can feel it. But when someone actually like isn't always nice to you, and they're always critical, but once you do something actually right and they tell you, oh, bravo, you can actually see that you're improved. Because when someone's always, yeah, great, great. I mean, that there's something bad with it inherently, practically, but I'm talking about it if we're getting super technical at this stuff,
I definitely agree with what you just said. I mean, there's nothing wrong about being positive, but you don't have to be lying. I mean, yeah, try to, people have to surround themselves, at least I'm trying to surround myself with people who are honest to me when it's good and when it's bad. That's what's important to me. I know that as French people, I mean, when I was living in England, people thought that I was way too direct. They are putting that on my nationality. But to me, it's not being direct, it's being honest, because I want things to move either for me or for the team, for the project. I think it's important. There's no point in saying that everything's good when it's not. I mean, we're not going anywhere from there. And most of all, there's no need in pushing yourself if you know and think that everything's okay. And you don't want to stay the same your whole life at the same level. That honestly sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I could totally understand what you're saying, and yeah, just be real, just be authentic. I mean, don't worry about. I mean, of course, to some extent, sometimes you need to just put up a fake front, but in general, try to always be as authentic and as real as you can. And yeah, I mean, it's fine. Don't worry. I don't think most. You literally did lifting them up like a sandwich. Like it was kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, it locked up my screen.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a nice addition to the podcast. I don't mind it actually. And yeah, thank you to anyone who tuned in and watched this episode, whether on Spotify or Castbox or YouTube. Please leave a comment down below if there's any suggestions or critiques or just anything in general. I'll always read them all. And I hope you're enjoying this new format of the podcast, which is now I'm trying to work on the quality more, like rather than quantity of the episodes. So I hope you're enjoying this. And I have to say that there might be a little bit of less, the frequency of the uploads will be much less than before because I'm working on other aspects of my life and now I'm much more busier. Yeah, because of that. And that's it, everyone. Take care till next episode. Right now, it's 13th of March, and this episode will be probably uploaded on Monday, 21st of March. I hope. And that's about it. Take care, everyone. Have a good day, and bye. Oh,
Bye.
just one last thing. Not bye. I forgot. Tomorrow is the 2nd anniversary of the podcast. I totally forgot that. Jesus. Yeah, it's the 2nd birthday of the podcast tomorrow, so yeah, yay! I just for fun and memes, I wanted to buy a little cake and just eat it. And yeah, so yeah, so to anyone who's sit through 1 hour and 33 minutes of us talking, you're an OG. You're the realist. You're awesome. Yep, that's about it. Thank you, everyone. Till next episode. Bye.